Good morning, Joyce Lincoln. Just making a voice, mic check here on you. You good?
Yes, Commissioner Accp, we're hearing you loud and clear. We've started.
Morning, Mr. Watley, Pastor of Montserrat.
Commissioner Accp, we've started the live streaming and we'll be playing a video now.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you.
CBSI Connect system is one of our main regional projects under the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, which started in 2010 and was a recognition by the CARICOM states, the Dominican Republic and the United States, that we needed a joint approach to some of the security issues that we're facing in the Caribbean. So CBSI Connect was a way to promote law enforcement information sharing across the Caribbean region.
CBSI Connect allows each institution to act independently with its own independent portal site, but also replicate credentials to a shared site where collaboration and learning can take place among all participating institutions.
Through the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative, we've started several regional programs, whether that's justice sector training, training on ballistics investigations, or law enforcement investigations training. And through CBSI Connect, these trainings can be broadcast to all member states.
Academies, agencies have been using it. We have had an increase in enrollment of participants for courses.
The knowledge that has been gained in the field, the knowledge that has been gained in the region can be shared, and that sharing and that collaboration is what makes this a very special asset moving forward for Caribbean law enforcement.
CBSI Connect users can either view our trainings at the academies themselves that are installed conference centers, or they can even use it at their laptop, on their laptops at home. And I believe we now also have mobile capability, so it is truly a training system that's accessible anywhere.
We have regular meetings with heads of academies. We meet regularly with agencies in the region. We get their input into courses and programs that are being offered on CBSI Connect.
Trafficking in people, trafficking in drugs, trafficking in money transcends the participating institutions in the region and truly becomes regional problems. The sharing of information, shedding sunlight, sharing expertise is a very important tool in combating these issues.
We've seen several positive impacts from the availability of training on CBSI Connect. One of them, of course, is a travel cost savings, because you no longer have to spend a day traveling and buy an expensive flight to go receive a training at another academy.
The training that has been done on CBSI Connect for law enforcement officers has had tremendous response. We have had an increase in enrollment of participants on CBSI Connect. We have had academies putting more courses on CBSI Connect. We have had training every month on CBSI Connect.
We encourage the use of the system for both internal training and external training, and we are trying to build out the library of available courses stored on the system, and we encourage our member states to upload their individual training, which they want to share with the community.
If there are courses that are available that pique your interest, that could enhance your job, your ability to perform your duties as a professional over CBSI Connect, seek them out, participate, engage. This is really the value of what this technology brings to the region.
And that has allowed different academies to build much stronger ties with each other and cooperate on shared law enforcement challenges in the region.
I'm met Reggie in high school. I think we're in our sophomore year, and we found that we were very good at the computing. And it turns out that the following year, the professor recognized that, and we were helping to teach the class.
Through that interaction and those classes, we also built a friendship and our affinity for math and science, and that desire to become an entrepreneur started to blossom.
Going on from there, we both then went on to the University of the Virgin Islands. All throughout that time, we still had the entrepreneurial spirit.
So we decided to both decided to move to the States, and we got together and decided to form the company. And slowly, inch by inch, we grew it to what it has become today.
As we looked at that phrase, we think it really encapsulated, what we were trying to do. When we started, personal computing class server things were like new. It wasn't like widespread, well known. But the whole idea of we were able to take any idea that the customer had and make it a reality with computing.
Commissioner Ackley?
Good morning.
To let you know, morning, sir. Just to let you know that we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, technical team. Good morning to one and all, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to the 35th Annual General Meeting and Conference of the Association of Commissioners of Police. This year, we are looking at a theme, working during and looking beyond COVID-19, the way forward for law enforcement. As we are all aware that it has been a challenging year for all law enforcement officers, and members of the Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police has not been exempted. However, with the advent of technology, we are still having the opportunity to meet with each other, to share ideas, to speak to our partners, and continue to learn new methods as we strive to enforce the laws of our land. This morning, as was introduced, my name is Atlee Rodney. I'm present Commissioner of Police of the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda, and it is my task to be the master of ceremony and to guide us through the proceedings for this morning. As we in the Caribbean, we pride ourselves, we like to bring God in the midst of everything we're doing. So as we start our ceremony this morning, I want to invite Father Andrew Rozak to lead us in a word of prayer. So over to you, Father.
Can you please unmute your mic, Father?
Okay, sorry, my mic was muted. I just wanted to say good morning to everyone, and I would like to say that I am really honored, and it's my pleasure to be with you this morning, and to say this little invocation and prayer for the whole meeting and for every one of you. Let me start with a little short passage from the Bible, from the scripture, and this is what St. Paul said in his letter to the Romans. Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, Whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. For the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid. For rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath, to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but also as a matter of conscience. This is also why you pay taxes, for the authorities are God's servants. God, our Father, our Creator, the Just One, as we officially open our 35th virtual annual meeting, General Meeting and Conference of Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police, we turn to you, the source of wisdom and justice. Justice, in its simplest form, means to set things right. Yet how do we know what is right? Who defines right? Is it society at large or the culture we live in? Is there a moral law that we inherently know to follow? Does COVID-19 pandemic changed in any way what is right or wrong? As Christ followers, the answer is simple. Our sense of justice is imparted to us by you, our Creator and our God. You are loving, kind, and merciful, and you are also righteous, holy, and just. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne, we read in Psalm 89. So God is just. It is part of his character, which means he's always just. He cannot be unjust, and he defines and sets the standard for justice. Pursuing biblical justice means we follow God's way to make right that which is wrong, and we look to Scripture to define what is right. Prophet Isaiah even said, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, and please the widow's cause. So today, united, we want to stand against crime. Because united, we are stronger. And because unity is a sign of God's presence. And so, united, we want to serve, protect, and reassure, as the Royal Barbados Police Force members would say. We now ask your blessing, Lord, on all the participants of this meeting and on all the presenters. Give us wisdom and insight that only you can give, especially at this uncertain time. But most of all, let us never forget the most important law in the world, the law of love. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father. And once again, we just want to say a pleasant good morning to each and every one as we enter into the opening ceremony of our 35th annual general meeting. And this year we are doing it through the virtual means. The ACCP was formally established in 1987 and currently comprised of commissioners of police from 25 Caribbean countries. And the mission of the association is to be the principal regional organization for promoting and facilitating these three main areas. One, collaboration and cooperation in the development and implementation of policing strategies, systems, and procedures in the region. Two, the professional and technical skills development of police officers throughout the region, and 3, proactive measures to prevent crime and improve police-community relationship. So with those guiding principles, the ACCP has created a number of aims and objectives, and just a few of them. 1, develop and maintain a professional organization committed to the improvement of policing in the region, promote, foster, and encourage high professional and ethical standard in pursuit of policing objectives, and thirdly, support and advance the just and reasonable interests and aspiration of its members. So it has been a regional institution that has lived up to its principles and also has achieved some of its aims and objectives over the 35 years. This morning, I want to welcome each and every participant to this opening ceremony. Our President, Colin John, he is caught up with some other matters, as we are all aware of what is happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it is my task to welcome each and every person who has seen fit to be part of this, not only the institution of the Caribbean Association, but to associate themselves in that organization. So this morning, it gives me a pleasure to invite especially our partners from different agencies, because over the years, one of the things that ACCP has prided itself in has established a working relationship and partnership with a number of regional and international organizations. And today we would be privileged to hear from some of them as they will be speaking to us and making vital presentations to us as we continue to fight this pandemic, but staying with our theme of working during, but also looking beyond COVID-19, because we are of the strong view that it cannot remain with us forever. So we have to develop strategies and method as we look beyond the pandemic. And we have to see how law enforcement agencies can adapt and can adjust to all the challenges that it comes with. So this morning, I just want to welcome each and every one, and we are looking forward to a fruitful meeting, a fruitful discussion. And I want to say special welcome to the commissioners, because without the commissioners, there is no association. So I want to thank the commissioners from the 25 member states that participate in this August body. And I just want to thank you for your commitment and also pay tribute to our forefathers who saw the need to have such an association. We want to thank them for that foresight that today we can all meet here and continue the legacy that they set. Because the old saying of strength in unity, as RSS has adopted, applies to us here too. Unity is strength, and when law enforcement officers from different parts of the region can come together, there is so much we can do. As I indicated, we have developed relationship with several organizations, and this morning we want to allow them to bring some messages to us. So we will start with Noble. Over the years, we have developed a good working relationship with the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Officers. And this morning we are privileged to have a message from Linda Williams. So at this time, I will yield to Mrs. Williams as she brings greetings on behalf of Noble.
Good morning, everyone. I regret not being able to join virtually this year, but thank you for allowing me this opportunity to provide a very few brief remarks. I very much look
I guess we're having some technical problem. The technical team, are we good to go?
I regret not being able to join virtually this year, but thank you for allowing me this opportunity to provide a very few brief remarks. I very much look forward to a time when we can be together again in person. The Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police has been a long-standing partner to the IACP, and we are extremely grateful for this partnership. We are especially proud of the Memorandum of Understanding that we share with the ACCP, which
Present day, sir. Miss Linda is not currently there, so we'll play this recording after. Gina, she has not sent any remarks out of it.
Was that message from the technical team? I didn't understand.
Yes, sir. There was an issue with Miss Linda. She was not there, and she doesn't have anything to present at this time. So we will do this recording to replace him.
Okay then.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I regret not being able to join virtually this year, but thank you for allowing me this opportunity to provide a very few brief remarks. I very much look forward to a time when we can be together again in person. The Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police has been a long-standing partner to the IACP, and we are extremely grateful for this partnership. We are especially proud of the Memorandum of Understanding that we share with the ACCP, which highlights the importance of mutual cooperation, commitment to common interests, and the ongoing sharing of to provide a very few brief remarks. I very much look forward to a time when we can be together again in person. The Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police has been a long-standing partner to the IACP, and we are extremely grateful for this partnership. We are especially proud of the Memorandum of Understanding that we share with the ACCP, which highlights the importance of mutual cooperation, commitment to common interests, and the ongoing sharing of information and ideas. Furthermore, Commissioner Colin John has been an active and engaged contributor to the IACP, representing Central America and the Caribbean as one of our 7 World Regional Office Chairs. We thank him and the ACCP more broadly for their continued contributions and insights, and we look forward to continuing our work together. The past year has arguably been the most difficult time in policing history. We have had to very quickly and drastically change the way our agencies conduct business all around the globe in direct response to the global pandemic. As such, the IACP launched a COVID-19 resource library in the spring of 2020, providing the most up-to-date information available on how police professionals can prepare and respond to the pandemic. Since then, the IACP has developed and launched dozens of dedicated resources for topics such as organizational preparedness, alternatives to law enforcement procedure, special population concerns, and officer health and safety and wellness. These resources have been targeted to both individual officers and agencies alike to help them navigate challenges that arise. Specialty resources were also developed for specific topic areas such as law enforcement response to sexual assaults during the COVID-19 pandemic and processing DUIs during the COVID-19 pandemic. If you have not already done so, I highly encourage you to check out this resource library on IACP's website. The IACP also held a webinar with Dr. Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the U.S. National Institutes of Health and current chief medical advisor to President Biden. Open to all members, the webinar discussed COVID-19 challenges related to the policing profession, such as vaccine distribution, security, agency policies, and health and safety concerns. As this pandemic has created new challenges in how we are able to respond to calls for service and engage with our communities, the policing profession has also been met with public outcry for widespread reform. And while much of the world is watching what is happening in the United States regarding incidents of use of force, we all know that our challenges are not confined to our borders. These incidents, no matter the location, put an incredible microscope on the profession. And as a result, the IACP has assembled a critical incident task force. Membership of the task force consists of representatives from law enforcement around the globe, civil rights organizations, private sector, elected officials, and academia. The task force held its first meeting in March with substantive work and additional convenings to follow. And I look forward to the results of their efforts as they work to identify leading practices and innovative approaches to addressing critical incidents. Now, as a profession, we know that we will continue to be tested in the coming months. The IACP looks forward to continuing to work with and learn from our global partners as we work to develop solutions and continue to move forward. I want to thank you again for allowing me to join you here today. I wish you a very successful conference, and I hope that I'll see many of you at the IACP Annual Conference in New Orleans, Louisiana, September 11 to 14. Thank you. Take good care and see you soon.
Thank you very much. And as we continue to pride ourselves of having developed those partnerships over the years, we are thankful for that level of interaction we have with international organizations. So as we move forward with our programming, I just want to highlight a few more of our objectives as an association. It said influence the development of laws, procedures, and practices that will advance the effectiveness of policing in the region. Just a reminder that when we are not on, it would be good to turn off our mic so we can have less interruptions. So as we moved on, I just need a little clarification from my technique. Is the other person is recorded also?
Yes, Commissioner, Ms. Williams is now on. Ms. Linda Williams from Noble is now on.
Yes, yes. My small apology by switching the names around, but now we move not from IACP now. We had IACP already. Now we go into the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executive, and our representative today is Linda Williams, and we will now invite her to bring her message to this year's conference.
Good morning and greetings to each of you. On behalf of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, Noble, I bring you greetings. I am Linda Williams, the National President. I thank you for this opportunity and our continued partnership. It just shows that regardless what our boundaries are, that we are one, that we are codependent on one another as we carry out the duties to serve our communities and our country. I'd like to say a very special thank you to my international representative to Noble, Ms. Melanie Jackson, for her unyielding support as she has made this collaboration seamless. Along with Marcel Manning, we have come along since our inception, since 2000. You know, they have been relentless and make sure that we reach across the borders to make sure that we are given best other equipments and resources to our international partners. And even as the world goes through a tumultuous times, we know that what we have experienced here in the United States does extend across the borders. Thank you for standing up for the injustices and the fallacies that we have in policing, because we realize that we have to acknowledge those fallacies in order to learn and move forward. I am excited as I have continued to serve in this capacity, but even after I leave my role as national president, to press the importance of this collaboration, because we realize through the selfless dedication of people like Marcel and Melanie to come in for relief efforts as storms rage across the country. They have been most unyielding to make sure that everybody on this side knows that we have brothers and sisters on the other side that stand in need. So I thank you for this opportunity. I congratulate you on this conference because we realize that when we are all moving in the same direction, up our destination and we get further. So thank you for having me. Thank you for this time together. And we welcome your feedback and your continued partnership as we continue to serve the communities that we raised our hand to protect and serve, but most importantly, to make this world, to make this country a better place for all citizens, regardless of our creed or our nationality. And we realize that together we can do this. So God bless you on this wonderful occasion. And I stand ready to continue whatever Noble can do to assist you. Thank you and continued blessings on a wonderful conference.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. We really appreciate that partnership we have with Noble, and for commissioners and other partners who have never attended a Noble conference and also an IACP, I will encourage you because there is a lot of learning to be obtained and there's a lot of networking that can be created. So if you have never participated in any of those conferences, I would urge you to give it serious consideration, whether it's done virtually in the coming months or it's done face-to-face. I think it worth the while as a commissioner of police or as a person involved in law enforcement to be part of this conference. So we want to thank our international partners from Noble and also from IACP as they brought messages to us. This morning, we are privileged to have our feature address or keynote address from one of the regional stalwarts, someone who has made a significant contribution to regional integration and also regional development. Just as the ACTP has some core quality values that we hold on to, I think our next speaker continue to promote those values and to make not only her country better, but the region on a whole much more prosperous and much more, we would say, elevated to where we want to be as a region. So this morning we have the honor to have the Honorable Mia Amo-Motley, QC MP, to speak to us. She became Barbados' 8th and first female Prime Minister on May 25th, 2018. Ms. Motley was elected to the Parliament of Barbados in September 1994 as part of the New Barbados Labour Party government. Prior to that, she served as one of the 2 opposition senators between 1991 and 1994. One of the youngest person ever to be assigned to a ministerial portfolio. Ms. Motley was appointed Minister of Education, Youth Affairs, Culture from 1994 to 2001. She later served as Attorney General and Deputy Prime Minister of Barbados from 2001 to 2008 and was the first female to hold that position. Ms. Motley is an attorney at law with a degree from the London School of Economics, specializing in advocacy. She's also a barrister of the Bar of England and Wales. In 2002, she became a member of the local Privy Council. She was also admitted to the Inner Bar, becoming the youngest ever Queen's Counsel in Barbados, and who knows, maybe in our region also. So this morning, we take pride and great joy in inviting Honorable Mia Amo-Motley, QC MP, to give the keynote address to our conference.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, other commissioners of police, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the ACP Secretariat, specially invited participants, members of the media, good morning. I deem it an honor to have been invited to address you this morning as you celebrate 35 years as a regional organization. This is not the first time I've done it, but it's the first time in a long time. The fact that this organization has remained together is testimony to the commitment of those of you who came before and those who are here now, ensuring that when you work together as law enforcement professionals, you seek to work to reduce crime and contribute to the improvement of all of our environments within which we live as Caribbean people. I'm particularly interested in your deliberations on a topic that has dominated our lives for the past 15 months and by all accounts will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Of course, I refer to COVID-19. The adjustments accompanying the coronavirus pandemic have been difficult and painful for the majority of our population, not only in this region, but then when we look throughout the world, we see the mirror of what others are experiencing. Not surprisingly, the pandemic has laid bare our frailties as a small island developing state. We are the most tourism and travel dependent region in the world as the Caribbean, and our economies have been decimated by the onslaught of this pandemic. Indeed, our economic performance last year reflects that fact in a stark manner. Our recovery will not necessarily be quick, and it will require a dedicated and focused approach based on realistic plans. However, we must not be afraid to make changes and to innovate. We will only continue to be viable states if we act on the opportunities that allow us to be more resilient while charting the path ahead for stronger and more sustainable development. And yet, this pandemic has also brought out the best in many persons, in particular those who have given yeoman service, working in their respective countries on the front line of this battle. We owe each of you here today and your respective forces a debt of gratitude, and I salute you as I salute my own in Barbados. Let me say at this juncture that we have a difficulty in getting our populations to become accustomed to this, and I understand it fully, because in many respects we have been a nation and a region that have been accustomed to adhering to all aspects of civil liberties. To have constraints now on our movements and on what we can do and when we can do it is not easy, and reminds us of the stories of those who lived in war-torn times. We accept that this is particularly difficult for members of law enforcement because you are now required to be able to hold order in support of the defense of public health and not in support of the normal role that you have become accustomed to play, most of you, during the course of your lives. I want to pause and reflect, therefore, on the contributions of those frontline workers, which of course include the law enforcement workers, not just our medical personnel. You have known what it is to be able to take courage and to fight this from in front while having to defend all of the aspects of the country's law and order. We must never let your contribution go unnoticed. And certainly for those who have passed, we must never let their untimely departure be in vain. While I know that fear can cripple and cause people to retreat, believe you me, we will not win the battle against COVID-19 this way. And my own Minister of Health, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, often reminds us, no retreat, no surrender. I ask us across the region to let us make this our motto in all things, not just in the battle against public health, but in the battle to defend our societies against those who would want to make it unsafe for whatever reason. My friends, our region, the Caribbean, has been and continues to be fraught with a range of other challenges and security-related threats that you know better than I do. These are impacting negatively on the resources of regional governments and law enforcement agencies. Some of these threats are so insidious that they not only have an impact on national security, but regrettably, they're also having implications for public policy. It is true that many of them, the challenges, have existed for well over 30 years and continue unabated. And I refer specifically, of course, to terrorism, to drug trafficking, the movement of guns in particular, money laundering, corruption, human trafficking, migrant smuggling, and cybercrime, the usual cast of suspects. More recently, we've grappled with the effects of Category 5 hurricanes. You remember Maria in Dominica and Dorian in the Bahamas. And immediately, the impact of a hurricane is to have an immediate impact on law and order and national security. Hence, the climate crisis plays an critical part in your planning so that you can ensure that at all times, whether it is as a result of a hurricane or whether it is as a result of a volcanic eruption as happened recently in St. Vincent, and we need to ensure that our law enforcement officers are on the front line, protecting the stability of our nation, for without that, there is anarchy. These non-traditional threats have caused you to add humanitarian responses to your normal crime prevention activities and your normal crime fighting activities. And we're conscious of the stretched nature of the resources as a result of that. COVID, non-traditional threats, all of these things. If a traditional SWOT analysis is done, we realize that as a result of COVID, there are also several opportunities for us to improve our law enforcement techniques. The global spread of the pandemic, as I said earlier, has presented a perfect opportunity for law enforcement agencies to recommit to fundamental changes to achieve greater efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency in our overall operations. The use of ICT, information and communications technology in crime fighting, has already started, but it must now be catapulted to the next level of deeper integration into the daily management of the forces, facilitating enhanced service delivery and better and faster decision making. Only recently there's the threat of cybersecurity, and we only have to look at what has happened in the United States of America with one of their major pipelines to understand the critical importance of defending our cybersecurity against the attacks that very often not only come from regional forces, but from international forces. In addition, the development of a sustainable resource capability, both in terms of well-trained and appropriately equipped forces, is absolutely critical. And in boosting of that cybersecurity, it means that we are going to have to do more training, but more importantly, more sharing of resources to ensure that we stay ahead of the curve given our limited resources as governments within this region. The demand is also for data gathering, analysis, and information sharing to occur in real time. That is what we sought to do in 2007 when we established a Regional Intelligence Fusion Center and when we established a Joint Regional Communications Center as a region, ensuring that on critical areas we cooperate, recognizing that most governments cannot afford to provide all that is needed within the ambit of individual countries. But my friends, amidst the necessary reskilling and retooling, we must not lose sight of one of the fundamentals of policing, the importance of the compact between the police and the communities they serve. Your job is fundamentally about service. I don't need to tell you that, because many of you have grown up in an environment where you know that your most effective jobs have been assured by your cooperation with the people whom you represent in communities. For even with all of the advanced tools that are available, human-to-human interaction and intelligence gathering remains absolutely critical to your job and ultimately to the maintenance of order. My friends, I want to wish you the very best this morning, recognizing that always you serve our people and our people must respect you as you serve us. Your duty is to serve and to protect, and our duty is to provide the resources necessary to allow you to serve and protect. I once had a commissioner of police tell me that his men and women understood black and white, but it was in the management of gray, the exercise of discretion, that the greatest level of training needs to be put in place. I suspect that that is still the case, and therefore we as governments will continue to work with you to ensure that we help you transform your force and to provide the skills that you need across the entire force. That is an effort that requires cooperation with our traditional education and training resources. I believe that greater efforts for that level of collaboration will allow for more effective use of discretion. For after all, it is the exercise of discretion on a daily basis by that individual constable that comes to reflect what that force stands for more than anything else. And I believe that therefore our intervention in terms of providing the resources necessary for that continuous training, as well as equipping you with the technology necessary to do your job in today's world, is part and parcel of what our responsibility as Caribbean governments must be. We give you that commitment yet again. And we ask you to recall that in this ever-changing world, your duties to protect our societies and to serve our societies will continue to evolve in a way that 3 years ago, none of you contemplated that your primary duty would be the maintenance of order in a global pandemic. But such is the world in which we live. I have every confidence in our forces across this region, having had the opportunity to work with many of you for a protracted period of time. Indeed, I count as one of my most memorable moments the preparation for Cricket World Cup as I led the region across 10 countries in the area of security with my current Minister of Health, as he then was Lieutenant Colonel Bostic. Our memories of working with you are cherished by us, but equally important is the recognition that the institutions that we created then, more than 15 years ago, have come now to be our primary bulwarks as we defend ourselves against this global pandemic. Our ability to have access to that real-time data as to who is coming into our country reminds us of the early work that we put in. The fact that this region became the first region in the world to have real-time access with Interpol is equally a reminder that we do not need to follow others and that we can blaze our own trail if we set our minds to it and if we understand the public policy dynamics and the development issues that confront our region. So, with these words, I wish you all the very best, and please forgive me if I spend a second to thank our own Commissioner of Police, Mr. Tyrone Griffith, who has given a life of service to the people of Barbados through the police force. Commissioner, we thank you. We know this is your last meeting with the Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police as Commissioner, and we say to those of you who are there with him, please express our gratitude and your gratitude to those who have served us well. And in this, Mr. Griffith, I believe you and your Deputy Commissioner of Police have distinguished yourselves. Of course, I refer to Mr. Oral Williams, who equally is retiring shortly with the Commissioner of Police. With those few words, I wish your deliberations to be successful and hope that you continue to serve this region as an association in the distinguished way that you have done over the course of the last 35 years. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. This is good food for thought. And we want to join with her in the latter part to say thanks to the outgoing commissioner and his deputy as they say goodbye to one aspect of law enforcement. But we know with the experience that they have gathered, they will continue to contribute to law enforcement. The ACCP has adopted the undermentioned core values: commitment to quality service, collaboration and cooperation, professional and ethical standard, community partnership, respect for human rights, gender and cultural sensitivity. And that has been our core values, and that is what we've been aspiring to do, and I think we have been doing a good job with it. So we want to thank the Prime Minister to encapsulating those core values even in our presentation to us, and may we continue to be inspired. And one of the things that she said, that the lessons learned during the challenges of putting World Cup 2007 together in the Caribbean is very beneficial for us today. And I am looking forward, as our theme is saying, going beyond COVID, the lessons that we are learning during this pandemic will become valuable tools as we face future challenges within the Caribbean. So let us don't be despondent because of those challenging times we are facing, bearing in mind that later down, the experiences that we have will in turn be beneficial to our region. This morning, we want to thank everyone for being part of our opening ceremony. But to do that officially, I will now call upon Commissioner Paul Roll to give us the official vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Session Chair, Commissioner Motley, Honorable Mayor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados. And I want to thank you, first of all, Commissioner, for your guiding us through this session this morning and for your welcome. Wish to acknowledge and thank Father Andrew Rozak for his devotion leading us through a scripture this morning and for our prayer. Wish to thank Ms. Chief Cynthia Renard of IACP for those kind remarks and continued support of the International Association of Chiefs of Police to the Association of Caribbean Commissioners Association. I wish also to acknowledge and thank Ms. Linda Williams, President of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Officers, NOBLE, for her kind remarks. And of course, to Prime Minister Motley, specifically, I wish to thank you, Prime Minister, for your keynote address as you challenge us in dealing with natural disasters. You challenge us in keeping stability in our nations, managing COVID. You challenge us to improve our techniques and reminding us to improve the country's cyber security through training and reminding us that we must all remember that we are about service and human-to-human interaction. I want to thank all of you participants for joining us for this session this morning, our media partners from around the Caribbean and indeed the world that are joining with us this morning, and to all of our organizing committee and the executive of ACCP. I want to thank you and thank all of you for joining, and we look forward to having a spirited and informative conference 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Roll, and thanks to all those who participated in our opening ceremony. As we end this portion, I just want to remind our audience that behind the scene of ACCP is the Secretariat, and we have our Secretariat Manager, Marcia Manning, and our Secretary, Shirley Flats. And I just want to commend them for the hard work they have been doing behind the scene to put conferences of this nature together over a long period of time. They have been doing it for a long while, and that is good service to not only the association, but by extension, the region. I just want to give a note of thank you for their hard work. And another group that has continued to support all what we have said, our aims, our objectives, our core values, is the private sector. And I just want to thank all our partners. I know many of them are online with us, and without their sponsorship, without their support, the association would not have been able to achieve its goals and objectives over the past 35 years. So I just want to thank the sponsors and the private sector for their valuable contribution towards the association. We have made it on time. I don't know if I'm learning a few things from Mr. Foster, but our opening ceremony has just been completed in the right time, and then we will take a short break, and then when we resume, we will go into our plenary session. So this has brought us to the end of our opening ceremony. Thank you very much.
We are PBS Technologies, a member of the Mosson Group of Companies, formerly Massey Technologies Infocom. We now have a stronger regional footprint and a more diverse portfolio of products and services, operating in 22 countries in the Caribbean and Central America.